In Formula 1, there are two types of teams. There are bad teams which have never achieved anything in their whole history. And there are other teams which are absolutely phenomenal.
We are world champions, thank you so much.
But that's not to say that they don't have weaknesses. There's 10 teams on the grid and each team has a weakness. Probably some have more than others. Not gonna name names on who that is. But welcome to every Formula 1 team's weakness. Yeah.
Lewis Hamilton! Lewis Hamilton! Lewis Hamilton! Lewis Hamilton! Lewis Hamilton! Hamilton! Hamilton!
Not quite sure how a team that has just won that many Constructors and Drivers' Championships in a row has managed to fall off so tremendously. It started on the night that no one will ever forget.
And it's going Dutch!
And ever since that day in December, things have been going very much downhill. In 2022, only winning one race, I mean, fair enough, they won a race, but surely 2022 will be better. No, it wasn't. 0 race wins and a couple podiums. But hey, 2024, they will bounce back. They have James Allison, things will be good. 2024 has been their worst year by far. They've lost Lewis Hamilton as a driver. They've lost pretty much everyone that works for them. Their team photo has been completed and everyone was there to now literally nobody is there.
What the fuck?
And let me not even start talking about they've scored 0 podiums in all of the races that we've had so far. Do they have bad drivers? No. Now yes, George Russell can be a terrorist.
George Russell.
I would like to be a terrorist.
Everyone that runs the team is pretty competent. I mean, they've been running the team for however much long and they've gotten so much success from it. And their main weakness has to be their car. Their car in 2020, 2021 was literally created by angels. It was beautiful. And ever since then, it's just been tumbling downhill like Jack and Jill. Sign me a record deal. That was insane bars and rhymes.
Brother,
Subscribe and like if you want to see a championship battle this year, because who knows, Lando Norris might win. If you want to see that, you should subscribe and like. Now, it'll be quite easy for me to pin the tail on the donkey and say it's Logan Sargent. He is absolutely dreadful. It's the car. The car is so bad. Last year, you guys were literally battling for P7s, P8s, consistent points, and now your highest scoring position is P11 at a race weekend where only one car competed because you had to boot another driver off. So with that absolutely epic build-up out of the way, Williams' biggest weakness is probably the wall this year. Williams should honestly be scared of Monaco, Baku, Singapore, all of the tracks that have close walls that are coming up, because let's be real, one of the drivers is going to plonk it into the wall. Pretty much any chance the Williams pair gets Alex Albon and Logan Sargent, I mean mostly Logan Sargent, but Alex Albon has done a couple things as well. Williams' dream at the moment isn't a championship, isn't a win, it's a track without walls. A track where there's like kilometers of runoff area so they don't crash and they don't have to spend more money on the... And then maybe they can actually use those money and resources to actually develop a good car and not have 2 incompetent drivers that end up being in the wall in the gravel rather than on the racetrack racing other cars. I mean, let's be real, with their current performances, they won't be racing anyone because they're slam dunk last. A Formula 1 team with as many fans as Logan Sargent has points. RB is quite not difficult to say a weakness about them. Let's be real, it's a pretty irrelevant team that nobody actually cares about. And the only time it gets mentioned or hyped around or something like that, it's the drivers. The team, no one cares. It's all about the drivers for that team. I mean, you've had all the drama back in like 2018, 19. You had, Nick DeVries. So I guess in their entire history, their driver pairings have always been the issue. And there's no difference this year. Literally 0. Because on one side, you have Yuki Tsunoda, who's literally putting in all of the work. It's like, Yuki Tsunoda will underpay you compared to Daniel Ricciardo, but you can score all the points, pretty much score a point every single weekend. And then you have Daniel Ricciardo, who's probably being paid absolutely gazillions of whatever currency he's being paid in, and he's putting up performances that really match Logan Sargent. He peaked in one race weekend, not even a race weekend, he peaked in one sprint race and one qualifying in Miami, and that's literally all he's done this year. He appeared for like 2 days and then he's just fucked off again. Honestly, if Daniel Ricciardo was doing a half-decent job and Yuki Tsunoda was doing as good as he probably is now, then there's no doubt in my mind that they would be battling the Aston Martins and maybe even beating the Aston Martins. But no, they're an odd 20 points behind because of the fat anchor that Daniel Ricciardo is at the moment. A driver that was so good, dive bombs out of nowhere, here, there, everywhere. Triple dive bombs on some occasions, race wins, podiums, glory, Monaco wins, to now, whatever the fuck this is. How do you manage that? Explain. Ferrari is a team of pure glory. I mean, the word Ferrari, if you ask anyone on the streets, Ferrari, what does that remind you of? It would probably be absolute glory.
History.
Now, yes, Ferrari have gotten wins here and there, but for the last 15 years, they haven't tasted absolute glory yet. Yeah. A team with literally everything. All the money in the world, the best cars in the world, the best drivers in the world. They've had Fernando Alonso, Sebastian Vettel, Felipe Massa, now Lewis Hamilton. They've had Carlos Sainz, they've had Charles Leclerc. And how many championships have they gotten with those drivers? 0. There's no doubt about it that at the moment, Ferrari's main weakness is that couple tenths a second to the top runners, and that has been the case for like the last 15 years. Championships are their problem, their weakness. I feel like the average Tifosi fan just cries in their sleep every single night. And the only time they are happy is the times when they win, which is very, very rare, especially with whatever Max Verstappen is doing at the moment.
Max Verstappen wins for Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen.
If Ferrari got their act together and actually created a monster of a car that was faster than anyone else's, it would be wraps. The times where they have contested for the championship, they faked it. 2022, absolute fraudulent car at the start, and then, what, they fell off faster than a stone in water. All of the Vettel days and the 2 years that Fernando Alonso could have won, things went south. Ferrari, don't be afraid to win a championship. Don't be scared of them. I know it's your weakness at the moment, but you got this. Maybe next year will be our year. Maybe. Now, it's easy for us enjoyers of Formula 1 and viewers of Formula 1 to just point the finger at someone and be like, you're doing an awful job. But in Aston Martin's case, I think we have to for the last time. Lance Stroll is single-handedly the biggest weakness of Aston Martin. No doubt about it. If you think differently, you might be high, you might be drunk, maybe get checked out by the doctors. Something might be wrong. Lance Stroll has been in Formula 1 for like 7 or 8 years, and surely in that time, he's good, right? I mean, Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc, George Russell, they've been in Formula 1 for shorter than that, and they are literally at the top echelons of Formula 1 drivers, the best of the best. So surely, Lance Stroll, he's been in the sport a couple more years, he should be as good, even better? Oh God, no. He's been dominated by pretty much every single teammate that he's had in years where his teammates were scoring podiums, potential wins, maybe pole positions, race weekend upon race weekend. He wasn't doing anything. And the only reason why he's still in the sport, because he would have been, let's be real, kicked out if he stayed at Williams because he wasn't the greatest. The only reason why he's still in the sport is because his dad bought a team. His dad was like, I want to buy a team. Why is that? Not because I actually care about the sport, but because I want my son to race. I don't want him to get kicked out. Lance Stroll, he can literally be 83 years old, 5 seconds a lap off the pace. Guarantee you, he'll still be clocking in lap times in the Aston Martin. Honestly, for his sake, maybe not clocking in lap times, but maybe crashing out at 85 years old. In 2023, things didn't start off too well. I mean, he literally cabooted his teammates in the first race. And if Aston Martin had 2 good drivers, then who knows? Maybe they would have finished ahead of Mercedes. But they didn't, because you got Sir Lancelot behind the wheel of one of the cars forever. Now, usually when a Formula 1 team enters the sport, its aspirations and goals are to be good. Now, that is unless you name your team Haas, because most of the time your race weekends look like this. It's just absolutely shambolic most of the time. In the 8 or so years that they've spent in the sport, their best position has been P4. P5 in the constructors, And that's literally all they've accomplished ever. Haas's biggest issue are their decision-making skills. I mean, they've never made a good decision in their lifetime. They've hired two rookie drivers, which were putting it into the wall week in and week out. They got scammed by Rich Energy, and now for the first time it seems like they've actually made a good choice. Bringing in Nico Hülkenberg into the team, a godly driver. He's been absolutely phenomenal. But yet again, another bad decision to let him leave. Don't even get me started on all the bad decisions they made with development for the cars, because we've seen Aston Martin spike up to the top. McLaren were literally worse than them at the start of 2022, and they've won a race since then. Haas single-handedly is the worst decisions-making skills, not even skills, it's their biggest weakness. Now at the moment, it's pretty easy for everybody to say that Red Bull have absolutely zero weaknesses, because things like this are going on. Verstappen wins, yay. But what if I were to tell you that Red Bull have the biggest and worst weakness out of all of the teams? Would you believe me? Probably not, because it's probably not the worst. I guess finishing P20 every single race is probably worse. But controversy surrounds that team everywhere it goes. It's their biggest burden. The shenanigans in Multi 2021 was an issue back then. Meanwhile, Max Verstappen being Max Verstappen in his early days in Formula 1, everything that happened in the Toro Rosso Red Bull days, big issues, Sergio Perez not being able to actually finish a race and him spending more time in the gravel, and most recently Christian Horner and helmet marker being thrown into the back of a police car, handcuffed, and allegations being thrown here, there, and everywhere. Seems like Christian Horner would literally do everything to get these allegations off himself, even harass his staff, but yeah, haha. It's literally got to a point where certain people in the team don't even want to be at the team. Max Verstappen rumored to leave. And Adrian Newey has left. Has he left because the team is bad? No, they're literally winning everything. Why would he want to leave? Controversy. Maybe he just wants to change. Or maybe it's because, or maybe he just doesn't want to be associated with Christian Horner. Now, it's easy for me to stand here and absolutely point fingers at Ferrari. You clowns, you broccolis, you trash cans. But let's be real. McLaren, they're in the same boat as them. Sorry, not boat, they're in the same sinking Titanic ship. They are. McLaren's biggest weakness at the moment is their consistency. When was the last time they won a championship? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So many years. They've had Fernando Alonso, they've had Jenson Button, they have Daniel Ricciardo, they've had Lando Norris, and they've won 0 championships with all of those excellent pedigree drivers. Times where we thought they were back. 2021, let's be real, they had a good car. Daniel Ricciardo even won a race, somehow, out of, well, whatever they managed to. 2022 comes around and they are literal trash cans. It gets better and better throughout the season, and then 2023 comes around and they are literally the worst car on the grid. They move up the grid and they're, oh my god, good upgrades. They're scoring podiums consistently, and then the end of the season comes around. It's like when Shrek's taking petals off a flower. She loves me. She loves me not. It's the same thing. I mean, those are recent McLaren years. Shall we even talk about 2015, 16, 17? I think I'll spare you the pain. It's getting to that point with Sauber where, well, actually, thank God they're being sold, because I don't remember the last time they've had a good car. Now, yes, they have had a good car in 2008 and 7. It was all right.
Robert, bravo, bravissimo, bravissimo. That's an historical win, Robert. You are leading the championship now.
But for the last however many years, it's been a retirement home for drivers or been a breeding ground for drivers. Raikkonen has gone there to retire. Bottas is pretty much on the verge of retiring. Charles Leclerc has been brought up into that team and, well, he's been... Look at him now. But everything about that team currently stinks. They might have a couple decent, alright drivers, but their car is as ugly as the greenness of the livery. Get out of here, please. They honestly just have a bad car, and that's the bad thing about the team. Thank God they're being sold, because they are a boring-ass team. And finally, my favorite team of all time, a team that only French people support. Patriotism. No, that's not the name of the team. The name of the team is Alpine, the beautiness of Alpine. What I'm trying to say is that Alpine's biggest weakness is everything. Absolutely everything. The liveries, for one, that's one issue, which is absolutely disgusting. The car is as slow as ever. It is one of the slowest cars on the grid. It is poop. They went from scoring occasional podiums in 2023 to now not being able to get out of Q1. How? But a team that goes from winning 2 championships with Fernando Alonso to now losing Fernando Alonso, losing Oscar Piastri, and being literally the worst team on the grid, Alonso is laughing, and so is Lance Stroll. If you enjoyed the video, let me know down in the comments, and whilst you're there, you might as well subscribe and like. I don't know why you wouldn't, because, you know, if you subscribe and like, then you can watch my other videos, and if you don't, then you might miss them. You don't want to do that. And also, don't die, because if you die, then you won't be able to watch the videos. Quite obvious. Anyway, have a safe and fantastic rest of your day. Don't jump under a car. Don't die, as I said, and peace.